In 1853, Count Giovanni Guzzardini, a well-known archaeologist and historian, discovered on his property of Villanova of Castenaso near Bologna a settlement dating back to the Iron Age. The Count was stunned when he found many tombs containing finds of such rare beauty. During the Villanovan period, the deceased were cremated. Their ashes were placed in terracotta vases, oval-shaped containers known as biconic urns. These vases were buried in either pit or trench graves, together with the personal objects belonging to the deceased. The male burials were characterised by the presence of razors, which were either rectangular or half-moon in shape, along with spiral fibulas, brooches, pins, and weapons. Sometimes the lid of the vase, which contained the ashes of the deceased, was in the shape of a helmet. The Etruscan religion was based on the complete subjection of man to the needs and wants of the divinities, who were considered supernatural and mysterious beings. Men could only try and understand the wishes of these gods through the interpretation of signs, often constituted by simple natural phenomenon, such as lightning or the flight of birds. The Etruscans were very superstitious and lived in fear of offending the divinities. To avoid such a thing required the continuous mediation of someone who was able to interpret divine signs. Such mediation was assigned to the consecrated priests, who were assigned to three categories: the auguri, who interpreted the flight of birds; the fulguratores, who read the wishes of the gods by interpreting the sounds of thunder and the fall of lightning during storms; and finally, the aruspici, who divined the future by examining the internal organs of sacrificial animals. The art of the haruspics was based on the subdivision of the celestial heavens by using two perpendicular lines, the cardus and the decumanus. To the east we find the benevolent gods, amongst whom Tinia and his wife Uni. In the west the hostile gods, or the gods of the underworld. The intersection of the cardus and the decumanus was divided in 16 sectors, each of which is dedicated to a divinity. This same system of division was also applied within the internal organs of sacrificial animals, especially in sheep livers, the results of which were observed in every minor detail as shown in the bronze model. This practice served to indicate which section of the sky the priest had to concentrate his attention on, to interpret the future. The aruspici would wear a fringed mantle and a high conical hat, and they held in their hands a curved stick. Famous is the so-called liver of Piacenza, a bronze model of a liver, dating back to the 2nd and the start of the 1st century BC. Its surface is subdivided in 16 sectors, which seem to represent the heavens. The mystery of the Etruscan language derives from the fact that the nucleus of the language doesn't correspond to any of the languages of populations that the Etruscans were in contact with. Their alphabet derived from Greek, and the reading of the letters has never posed a problem. The major difficulty in the interpretation of the language is the fact that nearly all of the inscriptions recovered are of a funerary nature, and they generally only contain the names of the deceased, the social class they belonged to, the civil tasks they had, or the age at the moment of death. The Etruscans wrote on perishable materials, often using wooden tablets covered in wax, inscribing the letters with a small pointed stick. Nearly all of the Etruscan writing was written from right to left. The Etruscans wrote on rolls of materials, often linen, with a reed or goose feather dipped in black or red ink. The rolls were conserved in boxes. Another important find concerning Etruscan writing was the tile of Capua, discovered underground at Santa Maria Capua of Vetere. It is a terracotta tile dating back to the first half of the 5th century BC, and it is the second longest Etruscan text discovered after the Mummy of Zagrabia. Inscribed on the tile was a ritual calendar dating back to the Archaic Age. It was subdivided into 10 sections, inscribed with preordained ceremonies to be carried out on certain dates and in places to the favour of the various divinities. Among the Etruscan inscriptions of great interest, one